Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3859. Today's date is February 2nd, 2026. It has been almost like afternoon at 1:31 p.m. All right, let's just jump into the question. Let's go. All right, the question is: do I feel proud of my intent even when the result are imperfect? Okay, that's a really good question. All right, yeah. First of all, what exactly is this question, and why am I asking this question to myself? This is YouTube realization question. I asked this question so that I would kind of like the realization happen about me, that am I worthy enough to consider myself as a YouTuber or not. While asking this question, I would understand more about myself, more about as a content creator, more about as a YouTube platform, more about kind of like simply my content, my creativity, and things and that and that. It also kind of like a rethink me regarding about that what is actually my future plan, what is actually my present, and what is actually my past mistake. How do I supposed to learn, and kind of like how do I supposed to become the person that I wanted to be as a YouTuber. So these are kind of like a realization is a really essential for me. So that's why I'm kind of like asking this question to myself to kind of like get more realization regarding about, am I even considered as a YouTuber or not, or am I even worthy to consider myself as a YouTuber or not. All right. Now regarding about the question says that ki, do I feel proud of my intent even the result are imperfect? Well, what exactly is this question? The question is about that ki, when you make a kind of like a something content, okay, yeah, or any kind of like a video, do you like that video? Do you like the intent of the video or things and that and that? Now, what exactly intent means? What? Like basically, is this thing intent means like that? Kind of like a something that ki, uh, okay, something called as a message. Okay, yeah. Example is this thing. I kind of like a give in example so that you might gonna understand much more better way. Okay, yeah. So what exactly is this thing that ki, some people criticize a lot. Okay, yeah, and they have a kind of like a channel which kind of like a meant to criticize people. Okay, yeah, so many people, yeah, so many people who are their channel are meant to be just criticize people, criticize this one, that one, politician, celebrity, what he did, things and that. Okay, yeah. Now, what kind of like a intent that he serve from his content creation? Well, basically, is this thing that he just criticize people. Okay, yeah. Now, obviously, is this thing he will not just kind of like simply criticize without any random fact. If that particular person criticize kind of like a people with the facts and proof and evidence and things and that, then obviously the intent was really right to kind of like a simply that key people make mistakes. It's really essential to understand that what is exactly that mistake, and we shouldn't supposed to be make that mistake again. Okay, yeah. So it is really essential that criticism is happen, and it meant to be happen. It's meant for good reason. The intent was right. Okay, yeah. But if you are kind of like a criticizing someone without proof, without evidence, without any kind of like assembly lack of anything at all, just from your point of perspective that he is bad, and you are kind of like telling your perspective that he is bad and that this and that and that and that, then intent was not right. Intent was completely wrong. Okay, but let me tell you one thing. I live in free country. India is a free country. Everyone have their opinion regarding about whatever they should supposed to be say and things and that and that. So basically, is this thing, even if I don't really have evidence, but I could able to be showcase my, like I could able to be kind of like somebody tell my perspective, na, like if this is wrong and this and that. Yeah, obviously you can do this thing. Yeah, it's a right. Can I able to do this thing on social media? Yeah, you can do this thing. Yeah, but your intent was never meant to be wrong. Might be the intent for you might be right. Like basically you wanted to kind of like somebody um, express yourself to criticize someone. For you intent was right, but for the societal point of perspective intent was wrong. Yeah. if you're kind of like a doing this thing with a kind of like a simply evidence or kind of like a proper facts and things, then it might get kind of like simply right. So do you understand? Intent is really much essential. Okay, yeah. But sometime intent have become duty, and when it became duty, it became fragile in itself. Example, let's just say that um okay, yeah, I make a movie I kind of like watch a video regarding about a kind of like a movie name a Border. Okay, a Bollywood movie named Border. Okay, yeah, which released in maybe 2000 or maybe 19. I'm not really sure. Like a 20 year ago. Okay, 20 or way before that. Okay, yeah. Now this Border movie is a kind of like a telling a story regarding about the soldier who are at the border and what they've been through and what kind of like a things and that and that and that. Okay, yeah. Now, basically, the story was kind of like a bit more casual, bit more kind of like a somebody that patriotic and things and that. They kind of like a love their family, but they love more their country. So that's why they are kind of like a, in the border. They are protecting their country and things. They kind of like a tell that message in that Border movie, which is good, which is great. Okay, yeah, and which is kind of like a really that movie was released in 1997 or maybe I'm not really sure, but like way before that. Okay, yeah, so which is really good. Okay, yeah. Now they kind of like somebody create same movie like a same movie means like that. What is at least this thing? They kind of like somebody recreate movie named Border 2. Okay, yeah. Now Border 2 is a kind of like a somebody very disaster movie. Like most of people kind of like say this thing, this Bollywood movie disaster, this Bollywood movie Border was kind of like a bit more disaster. Okay, yeah. Now I am not gonna kind of like criticize regarding about why they kind of like are wrong and things and that and that. Whatever. I am gonna talk about the intent. Okay, yeah. So in the first movie, in the first Border movie, the intent was really right. The intent was that to try to tell a story to the people that what is actually soldier they've been through and things and that and that. Okay, yeah. But Border 2 intent was really wrong. Their intent was that they try to make money from this already kind of like somebody already flourish franchisee. We just have to utilize that same franchisee name and things and that. We cast a same kind of like somebody cast member and we will gonna earn money. So basically is this thing na ki if you are try to earn money from then you like basically this is I just don't really consider like basically in the first movie, in first Border movie, intent was kind of like only meant to be tell a story, but in second part it's not. They are not meant to be kind of like a tell story. They are not meant to be kind of like a tell that ki what is actually been through and things and that and that. And as also in 2025 or in 2026, everyone knows what is actually soldier been through and things and that and that. Already people have sympathy about them and we have a lot of kind of like stories regarding about that too. Okay, yeah. So even if they are trying to kind of like represent that intent, it doesn't really serve that much properly. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing na ki if the intent kind of like somebody change, or if the intent have a kind of like a duty, or if the intent change, then it just like this is kind of like completely wrong. That content became something wrong. Okay, yeah. Like what exactly intent means? What intent means like that ki why are you doing this stuff? Okay, yeah. Like if you are doing like basically if like when I try to record artifact, I usually kind of like say why am I asking this question to myself? It is very essential to ask this question that why am I doing this thing? Why am I recording artifact? Why am I doing that? Why am I doing that? It's a kind of like some this thing when you kind of like say that why, it really essential that it kind of like gives a reason for the effort that you are providing. Okay, yeah. If you are providing the effort without any reason that why are you kind of like putting the effort, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, yeah. If you are kind of like doing this thing just for money, if it is your intent, like basically the Border 2 movie was intent is meant to be kind of like earn money, then you did right. You did good. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Even if the audience like it or not, you are meant to earn money. You did it. That is right. Yeah. But if you are intent to kind of like tell a story, then that is not. If you are intent to make money, then you did it, that is good. Like basically there is no wrong with that thing probably. So intent is somewhat something, right? Okay, now I am creating content. Okay, so what is actually my intent? What is actually my why? Why am I kind of like a creating this piece of content? I First of all is that YouTube is a kind of like a platform where you can showcase your creativity, your kind of like a craft, your thought process and things and that. um, YouTube is a kind of like a platform is established for that reason, that people have that creative inside of them and they wanted to kind of like a showcase their creativity to the rest of the world and things and that. YouTube is that particular platform. Okay, now do I have a creativity? I think I have it. My genre is a visual storyboard. I kind of like a create such a poster or design to kind of like a tell us some sort of story. Okay, I could execute this kind of like a something storytelling by visual process or visual storytelling by creating poster and things and that. Okay, I take a photo of myself, try to create this photo by AI, and which is kind of like a somewhat something really good. Okay, yeah. So this is kind of like my intent. Why am I doing this thing? Because first of all is that it gives me a kind of like space to express my freedom, express my creativity, and that's what I'm doing it that. Okay, yeah. My intention also is this thing that whenever the people will kind of like see my draft or see my design, they kind of like feel something, add something value or something that they kind of like get something realization regarding about their life and things and that. Okay, yeah. In my visual storytelling, I try to kind of like simply explain complicated topic in as simple as possible as it way. Okay, through creative process. This is the kind of like stuff that I'm doing. Okay, so this is my intent. Okay, yeah. Now, is my intent is wrong? Well, probably not. Okay, yeah. Like basically, is this thing na ki, like as I mentioned. Okay, yeah. When the intent is a kind of like a something very pure, very right, or very kind of like a something non-harm to the people and things and that, it always good. It always good. Like basically, you are kind of like a telling a kind of like a information to the people, or you are kind of like a creating video regarding about geopolitics and things and that. Even if you are trying to criticize kind of like a people with the facts and kind of like a somebody evidence and things and that, your intent is always been right, always been right. But your intent is a kind of like simply wrong when you are trying to criticize people without any reason, or maybe you are kind of like simply doing this thing for kind of like simply just for like a, I don't know. I'm gonna take another example so that I try to understand the intent. Okay, yeah. So let's just say I like basically is this thing. I kind of like scrolling through kind of like a YouTube, and there is a kind of like a somebody one short video. I like a short minute vertical video. It kind of like a pop-up. In that particular video, the girl was dancing. Okay, yeah. Now, what is actually her intent? Okay, yeah. What is actually her intent? The dancing is not really that good. Obviously, because I seen the kind of like a original dance video is a kind of like a bit more better. She is a not really that good dancer. Okay, yeah. So, what is actually her intent? Like, try to kind of like represent dancing creativity, right? Yeah, good. Yeah, good. But there is a thing. There is a problem. What problem? The girl who is kind of like a dancing, she wearing very explicit cloth. Okay, yeah. Or maybe she kind of like a showcase such thing that doesn't really required in a dance. So what is actually her intent? Okay, so this is very like, is she inviting that key? Is she kind of like a tell her to the people that how sexy she look, or how good she dance, because she is not dancing really well. So what is her intent? uh, it's a very confusing right now, right? Yeah, why she is kind of like a dancing in this explicit cloth. Okay, yeah. Then I just don't really know. Okay, yeah. Then I click on her profile. I seen she kind of like made a lot of kind of like a dance video with explicit cloth and things and that. Some are more revealing. Okay, yeah. I was like not really sure what exactly is this thing, because I don't know, she was not dancing that much well. But views and subscriber, if her intent to get money or get subscriber and things and that, then okay, but still she will not gonna earn money from short video probably, or maybe earn kind of like a very less. I'm not really sure what is actually her intent. Okay, so I'm not really sure about that. Then I look closely in her profile. There is another link. I click on that link. That link diverted to another channel, another website called OnlyFans. Oh my god, this is her intent. I like this is her intent, and then I realized that okay, she's a kind of like a dancing this kind of like a somebody in explicit clothes and things like that. Her intent is kind of like a somebody divert people from this social media website to OnlyFans, so that people should supposed to be kind of like a somebody buy her subscription, so that people should supposed to see her naked photos and things, and God not what this did. So basically it's this thing that sometimes intent is a kind of like a bit more mix of so many stuff, okay, and things and that. So I don't know. Yeah, it's a very kind, as I mentioned the intent is a kind of like something very fragile in itself. Okay, some people kind of like stick with that intent, stick with that kind of like a message, or stick with that their creativity, and they kind of like focus on that. Like there is a couple of creator that I wanted to mention. Nitish Rajput. Okay, Nitish Rajput cannot, like, he does not create a kind of like a vlog video. No, he does not create any kind of like just a stupid video. No, he kind of like stick with his kind of like somebody information, stick with the kind of like somebody the stuff he do. He kind of like create a such a documentary that kind of like somebody like amazing. Okay, documentary represent. He kind of like tell everything regarding about evidence, facts, all those things. He showcase why this happened, things happened, that happened in a such a way that it kind of like engaging and things and that, and it is really good. It is really great. Like it doesn't feel like that a kind of like somebody that I'm kind of like watching any kind of like a documentary or kind of like somebody bias and things. No, it kind of like a feel like that it is really good. It's a valid, legit kind of like information that he was kind of like telling. So his intent is kind of like always been stick, is a kind of like tell the people the right information in as good as possible as it way. I really love the way he kind of like doing it that. And everyone have kind of like a different intention towards that. But some people kind of like change their intention. Okay, in kind of like somebody during the journey. Dhruv Rathi kind of like a make video. I love Dhruv Rathi, the way that he makes the video really good regarding about science and things and that. But recently he kind of like make a kind of like a very political video regarding about like so many stuff. Okay, and he also give the evidence and facts and things like that. But the way that he tone, the way that he use the voice, or way that he use, or maybe he represent people like a very bad way. Okay, very bad way. Like a tujhe kya samajhta hai be, like I don't know. This represent that ki you are not kind of like a respect to that person. You are criticizing. Yeah, you can able to criticize. You are living in free country. You can do anything that you want, and you are kind of like a showcase the evidence. That is true, but still it's not a kind of like a right way. You are not a kind of like a particular person to kind of like somebody use such a word to diminishing people and things and that. But I might be wrong. Okay, because every person kind of like thinks very differently. Okay, so probably is this thing, I'm not really sure about that. But I like the Dhruv Rathi old version, who's kind of like a stick with the science, stick with the kind of like somebody execute the piece of content is as good as possible as it can. His video is a bit more engaging too. But since he started creating the political video or controversy video, then it just not get right. Okay, things and that. So yeah. So this is what is all is this about. Do I feel really proud of my intent? I do feel proud of my intent. I like basically I kind of like somebody, this kind of like question is really essential for me. When I kind of like creating gaming content, I was not proud at all. I was not proud at all of my gaming content creation. I feel like that I'm kind of like wasting my time and things and that, but still I'm kind of like creating this gaming piece of content for almost like a 2 year and things and that. But still, it just at that time I feel like that I was kind of like something very wrong intent. Okay, yeah, I didn't really feel really proud of my intent, nothing really at all. But I kind of like stopped that thing, and since then I'm kind of like creating this Photoshop, photography, graphic designing, visual storyboard, kind of like some way that I'm creating content, and I'm proud. Okay, yeah. First of all, is that this kind of like some execution style or this maybe genre, no one is actually kind of like making a kind of like a video on this particular genre. So I am kind of like a maybe new one, or maybe I don't really find a kind of like a particular person who kind of like a create this piece of content in this particular genre. Okay, one thing. Am I proud? Yeah, am I proud? I'm kind of like a creating value to the society, not in a big way, but kind of like it's only very small way. Okay, yeah. Also, I also, it kind of like gives me freedom to express my creativity. It is also feel really good. So yes, my intent is a kind of like I feel really proud to kind of like say this is my kind of like intent and things and that. Okay, yeah. Now, right now, another thing is that if you're kind of like listening this on YouTube platform, okay, this is called Artifact. Okay, yeah. Another thing, if I mention my content, like this is not my channel, the stuff that you are kind of like listening right now, it's not my channel, it's my Artifact. Okay, yeah. Artifact comes with a different. Okay, yeah. Like basically this thing, Artifact is not represent to the YouTube category, or YouTube video is not kind of like somebody a creative video or things and that. No, it's not. Okay, that's why it doesn't really have that many subscriber or views, nothing really at all. Is like basically is this thing, it's an Artifact, it's a kind of like a thing that na ki you don't confuse about this video as a kind of like a simply as a kind of like a simply a creative product. No, it's not, it is not, it's a Artifact, it's a kind of like a personal way of kind of like the personal way of my perspective looking at the world and things and that. It is not exactly right, it is not exactly wrong, it's just my universe, it's just my thing, it's just my stuff. That is called Artifact. It's a kind of like journaling and things and that. Okay, yeah. So this is the stuff that you are kind of like listening is not kind of like somebody fall into that category of the content creation. No, it's not, it's Artifact. Okay, yeah. No, I am not really sure what exactly Artifact means still now, because like basically as it's a very different topic, we are not talking about that thing, but let's just understand this is not a kind of like simply the Artifact and things and that. Okay, yeah, whatever. So sorry, this is not a kind of like simply the content creation, it's not, it's just my Artifact. Okay, so yeah, do I proud of my content creation? Yeah, I do proud that I kind of like create this piece of content, and my intent is right. All right, this is it, I should supposed to be end here. Thank you.